Hey there, toilet paper enthusiasts and curious minds. Welcome to our deep dive into the surprisingly fascinating world of toilet paper. Grab a seat, maybe on your favorite porcelain throne, and get ready for a wild ride through history, innovation, and, yes, even a bit of potty humor. We're about to unroll the entire story of this everyday essential that we all take for granted. Now, you might be thinking, really? A whole video about toilet paper? But trust me, by the time we're done, you'll never look at that humble roll the same way again. We're going to cover everything from ancient cleaning methods that'll make you squirm to the high-tech toilets of today that'll blow your mind, and maybe a few other things. Let's start at the very beginning, shall we? Picture this. It's ancient times, and you've just finished your business. What do you reach for? Well, it certainly isn't a soft, fluffy roll of Charmin. No, my friends and our ancestors had to get a bit more creative. Ancient Rome, for example, had a gadget called a xylospongium or tersorium. Sounds fancy. It was a stick with a sponge on the end. And here's the kicker, it was shared. That's right, public bathrooms in ancient Rome had these communal cleaning sticks that everyone used. Talk about unsanitary. They did try to clean them by soaking them in vinegar or salt water between uses, but still. I think we can all agree that we're glad that particular tradition didn't stick around. The Greeks, not to be outdone, had their method. They used small ceramic pieces called pessoa. These were often inscribed with the names of their enemies. Talk about taking potty humor to a whole new level. Imagine literally wiping your behind with your nemesis's name. It gives a whole new meaning to kiss my. Well, you get the idea. Meanwhile, in Japan, people were using something called chugging, flat sticks made from bamboo or wood. These were actually pretty similar to modern tongue depressors. They were not exactly the height of comfort, but hey, at least they were for personal use only. Now, let's hop over to the Middle East and parts of Asia, where water has long been the preferred method of cleaning. This practice, known as washing, is still common in many parts of the world today. It's actually considered more hygienic than using paper, and with modern bidet attachments becoming more popular, the West might be finally catching on to this idea. But what about good old paper? Well, that's where our friends in China come in. The Chinese were paper-making pioneers, and they were the first to use paper for, shall we say, posterior purposes. The earliest documented use of paper for hygiene dates back to the 6th century AD in China. However, it wasn't quite the soft, pillowy stuff we're used to today. No, this was more of an any paper will do situation. In fact, there's a quote from a medieval Chinese scholar that really drives this point home. He wrote, "Paper on which there are quotations or commentaries from the 5 classics or the names of sages, I dare not use for toilet purposes." So, basically, if it didn't have critical writing on it, it was fair game for the bathroom. Talk about recycling. It wasn't until 1391 that toilet paper, as we might recognize it, was invented. And, of course, it was for royalty. The Bureau of Imperial Supplies in China began producing 720,000 sheets of toilet paper a year for the imperial court in Nanjing. Each sheet measured 2 feet by 3 feet. That's some serious luxury. The emperor's sheets were even perfumed. It's good to be the king. But while China was living it up with its fancy imperial wipes, the rest of the world was still stuck in the dark ages of bathroom hygiene. In Europe, the wealthy were using wool, lace, or hemp to clean themselves. The less fortunate? Well, they had to make do with whatever was available: leaves, grass, snow, moss, hay, stones, sand, corn cobs, and even their own hands. Suddenly, that communal sponge on a stick doesn't sound so bad. In coastal areas, mussel shells and coconut shells were popular choices. I don't know about you, but the thought of using a seashell makes me wince. Talk about chafing. In the Americas, corn cobs were a popular choice for a long time. Yes, you heard that right, corn cobs. Believe it or not, they were considered pretty adequate. They were readily available, and their texture made them surprisingly good at the job. Some people even preferred them to early forms of toilet paper. I guess you could say they were the original, corny, joke. Now, let's fast forward to more recent history. The modern age of toilet paper began in 1857 when Joseph Gaiety started selling the first commercially available toilet paper in the United States. Gaiety's medicated paper was sold in packages of flat sheets, watermarked with his name. It was actually marketed as a medical necessity, particularly for people with hemorrhoids. Each sheet cost about 50 cents, which was pretty pricey for the time. That's some expensive tushy tissue. Gaiety was so proud of his invention that he had his name printed on every sheet. Talk about leaving your mark. However, his product didn't exactly fly off the shelves. People were used to using free alternatives, like those corn cobs we mentioned earlier, and the idea of paying for something to wipe with seemed a bit, well, crappy. It wasn't until 1871 that perforated toilet paper on a roll was invented. This was thanks to the Albany Perforated Wrapping Paper Company. Finally, no more awkward tearing. This was a real game changer in the world of bathroom hygiene. But the real toilet paper revolution came in the 1890s, thanks to the Scott brothers. In 1890, Clarence and E. Irvin Scott, who founded the Scott Paper Company, began selling toilet paper on a roll. However, they were a bit shy about it. They sold their toilet paper to dealers and let them brand it, rather than put the Scott name on the product. Being associated with bathroom activities was considered too crude for a respectable company at the time. It wasn't until 1896 that the Scott Paper Company started using their name on the product. Their marketing campaign was so successful that Scott became the leading toilet paper company in the world, a position they held for over 3 decades. Now, you might be thinking, surely, by the 20th century, we had this toilet paper thing figured out, right? Well, not quite. Believe it or not, splinter-free toilet paper wasn't advertised until 1935 by Northern Tissue. Yes, you read that right, before 1935, you might have been in for a nasty surprise when wiping. Suddenly, those corn cobs are looking pretty good again, huh? Another significant leap forward came in 1942 when St. Andrew's Paper Mill in England began selling the first 2-ply toilet paper. This was a real luxury at the time, twice the thickness, twice the comfort. It's incredible to think that something we take for granted today was once considered the height of bathroom luxury. Now, let's talk about some toilet paper trivia that'll really bowl you over. Did you know that the average person uses about 100 rolls of toilet paper per year? That's about 20,000 sheets. And get this, it takes about 384 trees to make the toilet paper that one person uses in their lifetime. That's a whole lot of trees going down the toilet, literally. Here's another fun fact. The daily production of toilet paper is about 83,048,116 rolls per day. That's enough to wrap around the Earth 1,230 times. Talk about a global industry. And speaking of global, did you know that about 70 to 75% of the world's population doesn't use toilet paper? That's right, about 4 billion people either can't afford it, don't have access to it, or prefer other methods. Water is still the most common cleaning method worldwide, which makes sense when you think about it. After all, if you got something dirty on any other part of your body, you wouldn't just wipe it off with paper, would you? Now, let's roll into some cultural differences in toilet paper use. This is where things get really interesting. In some countries, like Greece and Turkey, you're not supposed to flush toilet paper down the toilet. Instead, there are particular bins for used toilet paper. This is usually because the plumbing systems in these areas are older and can't handle paper waste. In Japan, toilet technology has advanced to a whole new level. Their high-tech toilets, often called W-ashlets, come with built-in bidets, air dryers, and even music to mask embarrassing sounds. Some of them even have heated seats and automatic lid openers. It's like going to the bathroom in the future. Speaking of technology, did you know there's now an in-office machine that turns used copier paper into toilet rolls? Talk about recycling. This could be a game changer for office sustainability. Now, let's address the age-old debate, over or under. I'm talking about the correct way to hang a toilet paper roll, of course. This topic has caused many a domestic dispute. Some people insist that the paper should hang over the top of the roll, while others are firm believers in the under method. Well, I hate to take sides, but according to the original patent for the toilet paper roll, the correct way is over. That's right, the inventor intended for the paper to be pulled from the top of the roll. But hey, if you're an under person, don't let that stop you. Rebel against the system. Fight the power. You shouldn't mention it on a first date. Speaking of dating, here's a weird toilet paper fact for you. In some cultures, the way you use toilet paper is considered a personality indicator. In Europe, people tend to fold their toilet paper, while Americans are more likely to crumple it. Some people even claim that folders are more organized and detail-oriented, while crumplers are more laid-back and spontaneous. Who knew your wiping technique could say so much about you? Now, let's discuss some of the strange uses people have found for toilet paper over the years. During World War II, American soldiers used toilet paper to camouflage their tanks. That's right, they covered their vehicles in toilet paper to blend in with snowy environments. Talk about thinking outside the box. Toilet paper has also been used in fashion. Yes, you heard that right, fashion. There have been numerous toilet paper wedding dress contests over the years, where designers create elaborate gowns using nothing but toilet paper and tape. And let me tell you, some of these dresses are actually pretty impressive. Who knew bathroom tissue could be so couture? But wait, there's more. Toilet paper has been used in art installations, as a packing material, and even as a building material in some creative architectural projects. It's been used to make origami, to clean glasses, and as a makeshift bandage in emergencies. Talk about a versatile product. Now, let's roll back to some more historical toilet paper tidbits. Did you know that toilet paper was once considered so valuable that it was given as a gift to the English monarchs? That's right, in the 16th century, the Lord of the Manor of Wimbledon was required to provide Henry VIII's court with toilet paper. Did they gift wrap it? And speaking of royalty, here's a job you probably never knew existed: groom of the stool. This was a position in the British royal household from the 1500s to the 1800s, and it was actually considered a highly prestigious role. The groom of the stool was responsible for assisting the monarch in the privy chamber, which included helping with toileting needs. Talk about a crap job. But in all seriousness, this position was highly sought after because it provided intimate access to the monarch, making the groom of the stool an influential advisor. Now, let's discuss some toilet paper shortages throughout history. We all remember the great toilet paper panic of 2020 during the COVID-19 pandemic, but did you know this wasn't the first time people went crazy over toilet paper? In 1973, there was a famous toilet paper shortage scare in the United States. It all started when Congressman Harold Froelich warned that there might be a shortage of toilet paper due to a lack of paper pulp. Johnny Carson jokingly mentioned this statement on The Tonight Show. However, people took it seriously and started stockpiling toilet paper, which actually did lead to a shortage. It took weeks for the supply to return to normal. Talk about a self-fulfilling prophecy. There was also a notable toilet paper shortage in Venezuela in 2013 due to price controls and economic mismanagement. The shortage got so bad that the government eventually had to take over a toilet paper factory. Now, that's what I call a state of emergency. Let's shift gears and talk about some of the environmental impacts of our obsession with toilet paper. The toilet paper industry has a significant ecological footprint. It takes 37 gallons of water to make a single roll of toilet paper. That's a lot of water going down the drain before the paper even reaches your bathroom. Moreover, the soft toilet paper that many of us prefer often comes from virgin wood pulp, meaning trees are cut precisely to make toilet paper. This has led to deforestation in some areas, particularly in the boreal forests of Canada. In recent years, there's been a push for more sustainable toilet paper options. This includes toilet paper made from recycled materials, bamboo, and even sugarcane waste. Some companies are even making toilet paper from wheat straw and other agricultural residues that would otherwise be burned. There's also been a rise in the popularity of bidets and bidet attachments, especially in Western countries where they weren't traditionally common. These devices use water to clean instead of paper, significantly reducing toilet paper usage. Some modern bidets even have features like air dryers, eliminating the need for paper. It's like a car wash for your behind. Now, let's talk about some toilet paper innovations that might surprise you. Did you know there's such a thing as smart toilet paper? Some companies are developing toilet paper with QR codes printed on it. You can scan these codes with your smartphone to get news updates, weather forecasts, or even jokes while you're doing your business. Talk about multitasking. There's also colored and scented toilet paper. While these aren't new inventions, colored toilet paper was popular in the 1950s and 60s. They've made a comeback in recent years as novelty items. You can find toilet paper in every color of the rainbow and in scents ranging from lavender to peach. There's even black toilet paper for those who want to add a touch of gothic glamour to their bathroom experience. And for those who really want to splurge, there's luxury toilet paper. Yes, you heard that right, luxury toilet paper. Some companies produce toilet paper infused with aloe vera or vitamin E for extra softness. There's even 24-karat gold toilet paper available for those who really want to pamper their posterior. At about $1.3 million per roll, it's probably not something you'd want to stock up on during a pandemic panic. Speaking of luxury, let's talk about some of the world's most expensive toilets. While not directly related to toilet paper, these high-end commodes certainly complement our topic. The International Space Station's toilet, for example, cost $19 million. It has to work in zero gravity, after all. Then, there's the solid gold toilet created by Italian artist Maurizio Cattelan. Titled, America, this fully functional 18-karat gold toilet was installed in the Guggenheim Museum in New York City. Visitors could use it, making it the most expensive public toilet in history. Unfortunately, it was stolen in 2019 from Blenheim Palace in England, where it was on display. Talk about a royal flush. Now, let's circle back to some more toilet paper history. Did you know that toilet paper wasn't always sold in stores? In the early days of commercial toilet paper, it was often sold door to door by salesmen. Can you imagine opening your door to find someone trying to sell you toilet paper? Talk about an awkward conversation starter. And here's a tidbit that might make you appreciate modern toilet paper even more. In the 1930s, the Northern Tissue Company advertised their toilet paper as splinter-free. Yes, you read that right, splinter-free. Apparently, early production methods sometimes left splinters in the paper. Ouch. Suddenly, those corn cobs are looking pretty good again, aren't they? Let's talk about some toilet paper records. Charmin set the Guinness World Record for the largest roll of toilet paper in 2011. The roll measured 8.5 feet tall, 9.73 feet in diameter, and contained 1 million square feet of toilet paper, enough to last the average person over 95 years. I wonder if anyone has ever attempted to TP a house with that monster roll.